Okay, let's start.
Okay.
Do you remember yesterday we said that Fogg and Mrs. Oda went to the circus to see a show because they had some free time. So they went to the circus and there they saw Passepartout. And of course, Passepartout ran towards his old master. And of course, all the acrobats fell down, and Mr. Fogg had to pay for Mr. Battlecar because he was the owner of the circus, and he was very angry because Passepartout damaged his show and his good name. This was chapter 4. Now we will start chapter 5. Passepartout will sit to talk with Mr. Fogg and Mrs. Oda. He's going to tell. He isn't going to tell Mr. Fogg about Fix. Who can tell me who is Fix? Boys and girls.
English.
لسه انا ما وصلتش الزوم بتاع امبارح ما لحقتش.
Okay, you will find it on the website. Okay.
Deductive.
Yes, Tasneem, who is Fix?
Deductive. A deductive.
Yeah, an English detective. Yeah. So Fix, of course, met Passepartout and told him that Fogg is a gentleman thief and he stole 50,000 from the bank. But of course, Passepartout didn't accept this and he didn't want to help Fix. So Fix left him sleeping at the cafe. But Passepartout didn't tell those things to Mr. Fogg. Why? Not to worry him. He loved Mr. Fogg, so he loves Mr. Fogg, so he didn't want to worry him. Okay? But on the ship, the name of the ship was the General Grant. Passepartout saw Fix. Of course, we know yesterday that Fix traveled with Mr. Fogg and Mrs. Oda on the Tankadeur, and he went to the ship with them. The name of the ship was the General Grant. Passepartout went to the ship again with Mr. Fogg and Mrs. Oda. He saw Fix on the ship. Who did Passepartout see on the ship? Anyone? Judy? We said that Passepartout saw Mr. Fix on the ship. So who did Passepartout see on the ship?
He saw Mr. Fix.
Yeah, very good. He saw Fix. So Passepartout saw Fix. He ran towards him and started to hit him. Passepartout started to hit Fix and said that Fogg isn't a thief. He is a good and generous man. What did Passepartout said about? What did Passepartout say about Fogg? He isn't the thief, and he is a good and generous man. What did Passepartout say? That Fogg isn't the thief, and he is good and generous man. Fix answered that he could stop Fogg in Egypt, India, and Hong Kong, but he couldn't because he didn't have the papers from Scotland Yard. The papers now are with him, but he can't use them. He can't use the papers to arrest Fogg. Of course, we know that Fix works for. Who can say Fix works for?
Scotland Yard.
Thank you very much. Fix works for Scotland Yard, and he was getting the papers from Scotland Yard. When the papers arrived to be with Mr. Fix, he couldn't use them. Papers are not useful now. The papers are not useful now. He will help Fogg to travel faster to England to arrest him there. He said that to Passepartout. Fix said that to Passepartout. I will help your master to travel faster to reach England, and then I'm gonna arrest him in England. So Mr. Fix wants to arrest Mr. Fogg in. Who can say?
England.
England. Thank you very much, Tasneem. You are perfect. So Mr. Fix wants to arrest Mr. Fogg in England because the papers are not useful now. Okay? Then the General Grant arrived in San Francisco, and so the General Grant, the ship arrived in San Francisco, San Francisco. Mr. Fogg, Mrs. Oda, and Passepartout stayed at the International Hotel. They stayed at
International Hotel.
International Hotel. Thank you very much. Mr. Fogg and Mrs. Oda visited the passport office for a visa and met Fix there, okay? When they went to the passport office for a visa, they met Fix. They were walking on the street and they were talking. Again, Mrs. Oda and Mr. Fix went to the passport office for a visa, and they met who? They met Fix. They met
Fix.
Yeah, good. Mr. Fogg and Mrs. Oda
They met
went to the
they
for a visa,
Fix and the
and they met Fix. They walked into a big meeting.
please.
What? They went into a big meeting in the street, okay?
They meet. They.
Okay, after that, they got on a train.
Where did they?
I can't hear you. After that, they got on a train, and there were some Zeus Indians. There were some Zeus Indians who came with their horses on the train, okay? Some Zeus Indians came with their horses on the train, and they heard some passengers, okay? Of course, Passepartout fought with them, and they kidnapped him, or they took him and ran away. Because Mr. Fogg loves Passepartout, he got off the train at the town of Kearney. There was a little town called Kearney. They went to Mr. Fix now is helping. Mr. Fix is helping Mr. Fogg. Okay, can you copy? Mr. Fix is helping Mr. Fogg. Why? Tasneem, we said that Mr. Fix is helping Mr. Fogg. Why? Because they want to arrest him in England. Why?
Because he wants to arrest him in England.
Yes, he wants him to travel faster to arrest him in England. Okay? After they got off the train at the town of Kearney, Mr. Fix went to the army camp and asked some soldiers to help them to rescue Passepartout. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. After that, they were late. And they had to wait for the train to travel. An old man heard the detective talking, and the old man advised them to travel with a sledge. I'm gonna share my screen with you to see the sledge, okay?
Okay.
You will see the sledge. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
those
yes,
are the
yes.
Zeus. Yeah, those are the Zeus Indians
No.
who kidnapped Passepartout. Can you see Passepartout here? He is terrified, okay? And this is the sledge that they used. This is the sledge. They took this sledge after they rescued Passepartout, okay? Now we have Mr. Fogg, Mrs. Oda, Passepartout, and Fix is helping them now. He's not helping them because he loves them. He's helping them because he wants them to travel faster to arrest him, okay? Now they used this sledge to go to Omaha, and then they took a fast train to New York. Of course, they were 45 minutes late, so their ship, the China, was going to Liverpool without them. Okay? Now we will discuss the chapter as question and answer. Let's see. Can you see now the screen or not?
Yes.
Yes, I see it. What can you see on the screen?
Yeah.
No.
We can see now.
Can you see now?
Yeah, now we can see now.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's start.
Yeah.
Okay, what did Passepartout do when he saw Fix on the General Grant? We said what? What happened to him? Passepartout ran towards Fix and started to hit him. Started to hit him.
It's not Passepartout.
As soon as he saw the detective, he ran at him and started to hit him, okay? Number 2, Tasneem, can you please answer this question with me? What did Passepartout do when he saw Fix on the General Grant?
He is
Read the red lines.
as soon as he saw the detective, he ran at him and started to hit him.
I started to hit him. Thank you very much. Number 2, what did Fix do after he met Passepartout on the ship? He stayed on his cabin while the ship crossed the Pacific Ocean. Okay? Number 3, what did Fogg and Fix agree about when they met in America? They agreed to travel together to England. Judy, what did they agree about? Jenna, what did they agree about?
Yes. I can't hear you.
What did they agree about? They agreed to travel together to England. What did they agree about?
Me.
Muhammad Nader?
Me, Miss Yusuf.
Okay, who are you? Haneen? What did they agree about?
They agreed about traveling together to England.
Thank you very much. Wait. Can you see the screen again?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, what did Fix do during fight? We said that they, while Mrs. Oda, Mr. Fogg, and Mr. Fix were walking on the street, they walked into a big meeting in the street. There was a fight. One man wanted to hit Fogg, but Fix stood in front of him, and the man punched Fix. Fix had a bruise in his face, in his cheek, okay? Why did these Indians arrive on their horses? Why? They wanted to climb onto the train and they hurt some passengers, okay? And with that, they kidnapped Passepartout. Okay. How was Passepartout brave when he was on the train to New York? Passepartout was brave and he fought them, but the Indians took him and rode away with him. Okay. What did Fogg, Mrs. and Fix do after Indians took Passepartout? We said that they went to an army camp. They got off the train at the next station. Fogg went to the army camp there and asked some American soldiers to go with him to look for Passepartout. Why did they use a sledge to Omaha? The train would come late and it started snowing and it didn't stop. It didn't stop snowing. So an old man from Kearney told them to try using a sledge. We said that when they got off the train, they reached a town, a little town called Kearney, and they went to the army camp to ask some American soldiers to look for Passepartout with them. So the train would come late for them, and it started snowing. The old man from Kearney told them to try using a sledge, okay, because it was snowing. What did they discover when they reached New York? We said that they discovered that their ship, the name of their ship was the China. Their ship, the China, was going to Liverpool without them because they were 45 minutes late. When they arrived in New York, they were 45 minutes late. Their ship, the China, was going to Liverpool without them. Okay? Let's complete. Passepartout said to Fix that he played a trick. Played a trick on him at the cafe and left him sleeping. Fogg and his friends were staying at, who can remember? I said the name of the hotel in San Francisco. Can you remember?
International Hotel.
Thank you very much, the International Hotel. I love you. From what? They took a fast train to what? We said it now. From what? We said that they took a sledge from Kearney to Omaha. And from Omaha, they took a fast train to New York. A sledge from Kearney to Omaha. And then from Omaha, a fast train to New York. When they arrived late in New York, their ship, the name of the ship was, who can remember the name of the ship? The China. The name of the ship was the China. And it was leaving to, or it was going to Liverpool without them. It was going to Liverpool without them.